So for the JRPG news, we have a decent amount of things to go over. It is not empty by any means. The first thing I want to go over is the state of play that happened yesterday from when I'm recording it. It happened on Tuesday, and so pretty much I watched it live. I thought personally it was a pretty good showcase. I wasn't really bored at any point throughout. Maybe I think it was Dragon Age, that was a bit too long, but everything else was pretty good. I think it started very strong and then kind of got slow over time. But I wrote some games that I thought I was interested in. I'm not going to talk about all these in depth, but some of the ones I'm interested in or like that look cool, I might not even play. One of them is The Midnight Walk. It was like a PSVR 2 game which looked pretty dope. It's kind of like Tim Burton-y looking. There's a game called Hell Is Us, which looked like very intense and very cool. Again, I don't know if I'm going to play, but it looked cool. Archage Chronicles look cool too. I don't know why it reminded me of like a RuneScape, like a high fidelity RuneScape for some reason, so it looked dope to me. Pal World I thought was really fucking cool. That was coming to PlayStation now. I actually really like Pal World. I played it for like, when it came out, I played it for like a few weeks pretty hard, then I stopped, but I was one of the people that I think Pal World's fucking great. And I'm kind of hoping they beat Nintendo in the freaking lawsuit thing that's happening. But yeah, Pal World on PlayStation is pretty cool. I don't know if there's cross-save, which is something I want to look into. It's a bit too new for me to Google it, but hopefully that is a thing. An actual JRPG that was released is Lunar Remastered Collection on PlayStation. I believe it's number 1 and number 2, I believe, and it looked really cool. It looked like a classic JRPG that I would want to try at some point. I know nothing about it. I'm looking at it right now. It's like this 2D pixel-based game, and I don't know if I've heard of it. Like, I feel like I've heard of it, like Lunar. I'm like, maybe it is, but when I look at it, I'm like, I don't think I've seen this before. Like, the logo looks new to me, so it is a game that looks definitely interesting, and it is a game that I probably will play at some point. For example, like I got the Final Fantasy Pixel Collection I think earlier this year, and I played Final Fantasy IV, and I talked about it on this podcast. I really loved it, and it kind of opened my mind to more classic type JRPGs. And so Lunar is another one which I feel like at some point I'd want to play it. And yeah, Lunar just seemed dope from what I could tell. More announcements is Hitman World of Assassination on PSVR 2, which is another game that I thought was pretty interesting and looked pretty cool. The reason I'm bringing up some VR games too is because I have a PSVR 2 I got recently, and so they were kind of interesting to me. Lego Fortnite split screen, I think this is dope. Any game that still has split screen, I think is really good. And the fact that Fortnite added to their normal game mode a while back, and they actually added to the Lego Fortnite mode, which is really fucking cool. Like, this is like, Lego Fortnite is like a perfect game. It's not for kids, like you can play it as an adult, but it's perfect for kids. Like if I had like 2 kids, I put the shit on, let them play it together, like it'd be perfect. Like a Fortnite split screen, I think is just like a perfect meld of things. We have Dynasty Warriors Origins, which is a game that looked cool to me. I know this is like one of those, like, I believe those, I think it's Koei Tecmo that makes them, like those games where you just fight a fuck ton of enemies and you fight them in hordes. I think it's like a Zelda version and a One Piece version. I think it's of that series, but at least the way the trailer was cut, it made it seem like it actually had a story, which I didn't think those other types of game had. I thought it was mostly just like turn your brain off and like fight like 1,000 bad guys. But this, like, at least, unless they did a really good job with the trailer seemed very enticing to me. It almost seemed like it was a JRPG with like hordes of fighting in between. So it is something that looks interesting that I want to look deeper into. But yeah, Dynasty Warriors Origins looked good to me too, and that was also set to be releasing on January 17th. They had Monster Hunter Wilds, which is coming on February 28th, and that is a JRPG that just looks really fucking cool, and I'm probably going to try. I don't know if I'll get it released, but something that I do want to try, because Monster Hunter Worlds was like the first one that I gave a legit chance, and then Rising, I believe it's called, is the other one that I played a bit too, and so Wilds looks really cool, so that's something I definitely want to try at some point. We have Fantasia Neo Dimension, that's another JRPG, and I believe the news of this was that it got a release date now, which is December 5th, so it's coming out very soon, within the next couple of months, and so that is a game that I actually really want to try or look into, because they keep like hyping it up as it's made from the father of Final Fantasy, so I really want to check that out. We have Stellar Blade with its, they added like a lot of stuff like photo mode and like all those features that games usually add like a bit after release, but kind of the big reveal or the big announcement that they had at the State of Play is that they're doing a collaboration with Nier Automata, and I can't tell what's really happening. They show like 2B and like, I don't know if the main character transforms in 2B or something. I couldn't really tell. I have no context for it. I haven't played Stellar Blade yet. Nier Automata, I tried playing years ago. It wasn't really my thing. I played for like maybe 5 hours and I kind of fell off, and so I'll see. I do want to play Stellar Blade at some point, so the fact that there's, you know, potentially more content coming is really cool to me, and so yeah, this just seemed really cool. And we have, I think one of the coolest announcements of the showcase was Ghost of Yotei, I think that's how you say it, which is coming on 2025. The trailer looked beautiful. There's a one shot, I can't remember if the trailer started with it, but it was somewhere near the start where it just shows, I believe, the main character, and I think it was Mount Fuji behind her. It looks really fucking cool. Like, that was like a wallpaper material, and every shot of the trailer was like wallpaper material and it looks very cool. I personally haven't played Ghost of Tsushima yet. It is something that I did want to get to. I think the reason I didn't play, because at the time, I may be making this up, but I feel like there were like an oversaturation of samurai games maybe, and so like I didn't really want to play it, or like it was something of me being busy with games. But Ghost of Tsushima is probably something I want to check out now, especially because this is coming out, and I know this game takes place like I think hundreds of years after Ghost of Tsushima, so like you don't really need to play the other one, but I still want to, especially just to get like the context of this game, because I feel like there probably will be some throwbacks, or else why even make a sequel? And so yeah, those are pretty much the games that I was interested in, or like JRPGs that I noticed. There were other games that like I just thought like were meh, so I didn't really mention here. Also, I guess I should mention is they had new PS5 colors shown. I don't remember the official names, but it was like there's an indigo sparkly color, there was like a green sparkly color, and there was a white color called Pearl. That white one looks fucking amazing. Not the actual console, because that just pretty much looks like the main console, but like the actual controller, because it's purely white. The black part is white, the white part is white, the analog sticks are white. It looks really fucking cool, and so that's something that is enticing to me and is maybe like on the list of controllers that I may get one day. I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna get a controller like anytime soon, because I got the Final Fantasy 16 one that never came out in the West and I had to pay a pretty penny for, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna be getting another controller anytime soon, but I did like the white color a lot. And that pretty much rounds out the state of play news. I don't want to go too deep into every game because I feel like it'll get boring, especially because most of these are not JRPGs, which is why I just kind of like, you know, flew through it. But yeah, if you're interested, check it out. It was only like 30-40 minutes, not the longest showcase, but not that short either, and I think it was pretty enjoyable overall. Going on from that is Sparking Zero revealed its full roster. It has a total of 182 characters, I believe, and it's fucking awesome. I say this every episode. It is kind of shitty that like they're counting transformation as separate characters. It is what it is. I'm okay with it now, but the final trailer they showed was actually very hype, because I remember it started and they revealed like I think 3 or 4 characters. I don't remember who they were, and it seemed like the trailer was ending, and then they pretty much had like a no wait, we're not done moment, and then they showed a movie character, and then they kept going through every single movie. It was fucking hype, where they showed the Broly movie, then the Gogeta movie, and they kept going through every single movie until they had all the characters, and by the end they had a roster of 181 characters. And then even after that, they had one more moment where they showed Mini Goku, is what he's called, from Dragon Ball Daima, is going to be a pre-order character too, and so that makes a full roster of 182 characters, and so I'm extremely hyped for it. And the trailer I think was just good. If you haven't seen the trailer, I will say watch it. Usually like the trailers are really fucking good, I like them, but like I wouldn't like recommend anyone to watch it really, like if you're not interested. But like I think the final trailer was really hype, where like they just kept on giving more and more characters, and it almost felt like they were seeing that the game is so close to release, they should just fucking blow it out at the end and just show everything in one final trailer. So I think they did a good job with that. And yeah, Sparking Zero is going to be coming out soon. I will be playing it soon, hopefully. I have the Ultimate Edition pre-ordered. I may be changing my edition pre-order maybe to digital, because I have a physical right now, due to I kind of want to play with my brother, and if I buy digital, we could both play without us needing to pay for it separately. So I may be doing that instead of getting a physical, especially because the physical and digital version isn't really different, other than like I think these lenticular cards you give, which like I don't really give a shit about. But I will be playing that when it comes out. I will be talking about it on this podcast, and I think on YouTube too. I've just been watching a shit ton of Sparking Zero gameplay from a couple of YouTubers, kind of getting engrossed in it and getting hyped by the game too. So I can't wait till it comes out. And yeah, it'll be out in a matter of weeks. Yeah, within 3 weeks, I'll be talking about it on this podcast, which is very cool. And from there, we'll move on to the next news story, which is Triangle Strategy has been released, or revealed to be released, on the Quest 2 and Quest 3 on October 31st, which I saw this on Twitter and I was like, what the fuck? Triangle Strategy? If you don't know what that is the, I believe the same people who made Octopath Traveler, which is like this isometric JRPG that kind of pioneered the HD 2D style, which is like this bokeh pixel based graphic style, and they have it in VR. And if you watch the trailers, they look really fucking cool, where like you're playing the game and you're in battlefields, but you're in VR, so you're looking down at the battlefield. You can actually look around the characters and like place the characters manually with your hands. I saw a screenshot where they had mixed reality mixed in, where the battlefield was pretty much in someone's living room and they were playing. One thing I did notice is every single example of VR did seem to be showing the battles only, and in the trailer, whenever they cut to a cutscene or anything, it pretty much just cut to footage of it, which makes me assume that the actual cutscenes will not be in VR. They'll probably just be like played flat, like as if you're watching it on a screen in VR, and then once you go into the battles is when it goes into VR, which is kind of disappointing. Mostly because I'm not sure how are they gonna work with the sections of the game where you're just walking around, because while the battles are important in the game, obviously I feel like a good chunk of the game is you just exploring the world, like when you're actually in towns and talking to each other. So I'm curious to see, like, is that part going to be in VR or is that going to be flat? If the walking around towns part is flat, I think that's kind of bullshit. But if the walking around towns part is also VR along with the battles, I think that's fine, because the cutscenes being flat is like whatever. And I get it, cutscenes are usually like made to like be composed a certain way, and you don't want like people like moving around their heads and looking behind corners and shit. But with the actual walking around towns, hopefully that is in VR. But from watching or from skimming the trailers and looking at the screenshots, I really couldn't tell which way it was. I'm actually very happy about the price too. It is going to be for $30 US. I believe in Canada it is 35, which is where I'm from, which is cool because I'm assuming on Nintendo this is probably still selling for like $80 or whatever it is. And the fact that it's kind of conform to VR prices is nice. It would very, very much suck if they release this at $70 to $80 on VR, even though most VR games do sell for about $30 to $40. So it's good to see that they actually conform to VR prices rather than just trying to release this game at maybe double to triple the price almost of normal VR games and then probably see it fail because no one's really going to buy it at that price. And in case you don't know what this game is, I'll just read this quick synopsis, which is: important decisions that will decide the fate of the protagonist and his allies will be determined through a vote using the scales of conviction. For the player to assert their own opinion, they must convince their allies. Choices with a profound impact on the destinies of the group will likewise have a major impact on the story. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say about this game. I actually have played this game a decent amount. I believe I might have talked about it on this podcast, but I mentioned in one episode that like I found out at some point that grid-based, turn-based RPGs are not my thing. I tried them in a lot of games, but I really couldn't get into it, and it was a bit too heavy for me, where the battles were way too long for my tastes. And this was the final game where I made the decision where I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't like this grid-based battle system, where I bought this game, I played on my Switch, I put a decent amount of time in it, probably like 10 to 20 hours, but it wasn't really my thing at the end of the day, and the battles were just getting way too long and kind of hard too, where like, you'd be strategizing for a fucking long time, then after a 45-minute battle, if you die, you just want to kill yourself. And so I kind of fell off the game. I didn't really play it again. And who knows? Maybe I'll go into it again at some point in VR. It is on Quest right now. I don't know if it's announced for other platforms, but if it does come to PSVR 2 or like PC VR at some point, maybe it's something I'll try. The next news story is that Metaphor ReFantazio has a demo available called the Prologue demo, and it's going to be for the PS4, 5, Xbox, and Steam. And in the prologue demo, players can experience some of the early game narrative, explore social elements, and discover the city as they get a head start on their adventure ahead of the October 11th launch. Progression from the demo will carry over to the launch version, so players can get a head start on their adventures in the United Kingdom of Uchronia, which is good to hear. And they pretty much mentioned the main thing that I care about in these types of announcements is that the progression from the demo does transfer over to the main game, which is cool. I think these are the best types of demos where they pretty much just give you the first like however many hours of the game and you just get it transferred over. Dragon Quest 11, in my opinion, being the best demo ever released, which they give you like the first 10 hours of the game. It was insane. And so yeah, this is pretty cool to see, and this is really awesome to see for me because Metaphor ReFantazio is a game where like I want to play it at some point. I don't know when, but I know for sure now that whenever I do want to play it, it's nice to know that I have a demo that I can jump into first, can see whether I like it or not, and then by the time I get to the end of it, then I buy it and then transfer over. If they had this for all the games, it'd be amazing. Like Persona 5, I feel like it'd be really nice if they had like a 3-hour demo or whatever the hell that I get into, and then at the end of it, I would just buy the game and transfer over. It would just, I feel like it'd be a lot more seamless and would kind of like have some lubrication for people to get into a series, especially if they aren't sure about it. And so the fact that this has a demo is amazing. I believe Stellar Blade has a demo too, which I love too, because that's something I'm going to play first, assuming you can transfer the save and then get the game. And so this is just a very good announcement. And from that, the last news story is very similar, which is Romancing Saga 2 Revenge of the Seven also has a demo now available for PS5, 4, Switch, and Steam. And the save data can also be carried over to the full game when it launches. And in the demo, players step into the shoes of the Emperor Leon and with his second son, Prince Gerard, start an epic journey that will span across generations as Leon, Gerard, and subsequent emperors contend with these 7 heroes. Once revered heroes who, for reasons unknown, now seek revenge against the world. And so this game is coming out on October 24th, and again, you get to transfer your save data. It's a very good idea for a demo, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be playing this game. I don't know too much about it, and I'm not like that interested in it, but if I do want to try it, there's a demo to try, which is very cool, and you can try it too. And that pretty much rounds out the news for this week.